go time. So, I gotta get to YouTube real quick on my phone so that I can keep track of the chat and all that, because for some reason it doesn't show up on my tablet like a dumbass. Let's see. How do I get on my channel? There we go. There you go. Alright. Alright, turn down the volume so that it doesn't repeat itself. Ow. Alright, looks like we're good to go. Hopefully it doesn't crash like it did last time. So, hello, good morning everyone. Hopefully everyone's having a great morning with their families and all that stuff. Happy winter, even though I'm not truly a fan of the winter. Today, we're going to be working on some more coloring and shading, because that's what we're basically going to be working on for probably over the next month. Because, yeah, 1 page per day. 1 page per day keeps the exhaustion away. So I got my coffee, just waiting for my pen to charge because I forgot to charge it last night like a stupid butt. But, hey, it's done. So I've already turned off the text layers. As you can see, this is the page. The only one I didn't turn the text off on was, well, the text layer at the bottom. So we should be pretty good to go. I have already imported a panel with also, a page with also all the color references that I'm going to need for like things like the skin, the hair, the da-di-da-di-da. So it's going to be probably about a little less than 10 minutes before we actually get started. But that's good. It gives me time to like really look it over just to see, you know, where things need to be enhanced, where things need to be changed, where things can be better, some ideas I can add. Like, I can already tell you exactly what I'm doing for panel 1. Panel 1, it's basically just going to have like a dark outline around the panel. So that's basically where that one's going to go. So the first panel, that's not going to be hard at all. That's going to be pretty damn easy. But after that, well, everything just kind of turns into labor. But yeah. The trickiest part is probably just going to be the lighting, because, well, the lighting is definitely the trickiest part. Because if I show you exactly what I was working on yesterday, as you can see, the lighting was all over the place. But at side angles like that, basically it's for dramatic effect rather than actually being like on point like lighting. So yeah, it's more for a dramatic effect than anything else. It was that third panel that was the hard one, because there's actual lighting in the vicinity. So I had to make the lighting accurate while also making it look, you know, good. I've already made some changes to it. And of course, we've got the final one, which is very minimal because, well, her head's in a toilet. Simply put. Alright. So that is our reference, like our color reference, so that when we get to coloring, we can actually have proper, like, reference for, like, the skin color and all that stuff. So yeah, this will be what we're working on today. So I'm imagining the first one, just basically a black kind of outline, a very mild, like, black shadow outline for, like, dramatic effect, because that's what it is. And then the second one will have like actual lighting to it, so the lighting will probably be coming from the right side. And then the third one, basically dramatic effect. Fourth one's whatever. And then the last one is basically the lighting would probably be coming from above her. So that'll be interesting. So buckle up as soon as my pen's done. Okay, perfect. Perfect timing. So, welcome in everyone. Hopefully everyone's having a great morning or afternoon if you're from a foreign country. And, yeah, this should be interesting. Anywho, that message got held for review, so whoever decided to comment, Your thing I held for review, I don't know why. Probably because of either profanity or something like that. Not my personal thing. What the fuck? Yep. Alright. So, basically, this first one's going to be very simplified. So we've got to figure out where we're going first. So panel 1, text is already off. It needs to go under the trace over. This is just going to take some very, very, very careful precision. Like it always does. So, this is why I hate you. Well, I don't care, bro. I've been called every name in the book. I don't give a flying fuck. So, whoops, sure, doodle. So we're gonna need a bigger brush. Am I on the... Yes, I'm on a brush. Now the airbrush in Ibis is freaking weird. I don't know why it is, but it is. It's weird. Alright, we need a bigger brush than that. So what we're gonna have to do is just kind of go around the edges, kind of something like this. There's already a tool to fix this, so there's no need to worry about anything like it going outside the layers. But that's essentially the idea that I have for this. Then you just go to the bucket tool, you get this, and you get rid of all the stuff on the outside. This has been a lifesaver for me. This has definitely been a lifesaver for me. Especially in like the other one. Now it doesn't get everything, so I do have to go around the edges a little bit and just kind of clean up some stuff that's not right. I think I am going to lower the opacity of it just a little bit because it does look a little too dark for me. So we're just going to kind of bring that down to something more around those areas. And then if I were to add that, this gives me a really good indication. I can live with that. All right. It's only on screen for a few seconds anyways, so it's not that big of a deal. All right, panel 1's done. Nice. All right. So panel 2 is where things are going to get a little bit more tricky. Okay, where did I put the background? Right there. Let's see. Gotta think how this works. Why did I do it that way? That's interesting. Oh, wait, I think I know why. Because her head had to be on the outside when I was drawing her. So we're just going to put that on the top now to make this a lot more easier. Just so I don't confuse myself, I'm going to name this background. Well, BG for short. So all of the color layers have to go below. And, okay, now I got to figure this out. So I'm going to do this one character at a time. I'm going to start with Layla. So we're going to name this Layla Colors. So for green, like a dark green, that would be kind of a, I don't know, slightly dark gray. It's hard to tell. Whoops, I need to get rid of that. Yeah, grayscale, it's really hard to determine. That would be, I think that's a little too dark. Let's try a little bit lighter than that. That feels more the right color. Hello, Dona M1. Sorry, I'm just ignoring the fucking trolls because I don't give a shit about their thoughts. Alright. Let's see. So let's see. Yeah, we haven't done Layla yet, so I'm not sure about her color scheme yet. Green is really the hard one to really get correct. Plus, I think her skin would be a little bit of a lighter shade because she is kind of alien. So, interesting. Let's try a little bit of a lighter gray for the skin. Maybe no color would be fine. Okay, what about... Okay, shirt to skirt. They all wear the same exact uniform. So I feel if I just go something like this... and get this color, and turn that off, it should be fine. Just make sure I'm on the right layer first. Okay, I'm on top of the panels. Okay, where's the paneling? Wait, what am I on? I'm on panel 2. Oh, that's normal, that's normal. Okay, let me think how to do this here. Does this need to go on top? I don't think I can put it on top. And it'll be fine either way. I can always go back over that with a black if I need to. Okay, so her horns would be next. And her horns would just be a darker, like, color. Kind of like that. Just a little darker than her head. Oh yeah, that's fine. What? Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, the shirt matches too much. It would have to be a different color. So if I were to go something like this, then just kind of lighten it up a little bit. This is really difficult to do correctly. Let's do something like that. That should be fine. Yeah, that should be fine. All right. Okay, lighting comes last, so I guess we do start next. Colors. All right, now I definitely need a reference. Well, this is my reference. All right, so I need the base color, which is that. Turn that off. Okay, where does the hair connect and where doesn't it connect? I think it just goes all the way back. I don't think it really stops anywhere. All right, let's see. We need the bucket. We're already on the bucket. Nice. Oh, well, okay, I'm on the airbrush. Okay, just very precise. Very careful. Okay, fill in these little gaps. These are the ones that always are the ones that you can forget very easily because they aren't necessarily the most easy to see. Same thing with these ones up here. Okay, hang on. These ones, chaos control. He has the case and what? Hello, Hoppy Benton? Sorry, I don't know. And hello, J-Box. But yeah, if anybody's gonna come in here and just be an asshole, leave. I don't really give a flying fuck. I was bullied for 5 years of my life. Whatever you can say won't hurt me. I'm epileptic. I went through brain surgery at freaking age 11. 12, actually. Age 12. I've been through hell and back. Yeah, nothing you can say will hurt me. Nothing. So if you're just here to be an asshole, then kindly go away. Nobody wants you here. Nor is it cool. And it's also just childish. So unless you got better things to do with your damn life, then kindly buzz off. Okay, I don't like that color. You can't really see anything. I think I'm just going to go something like this. That way you can see the details a little better. When you're working with black, it's really difficult at times. All right, let's go a little bit of a darker shade. Nope, not that. God, it's so hard to control the color wheel. Let's see if that might work. That's okay. That'll work just fine. Plus, I've been a YouTuber for almost a decade now. So yeah, I know. I know how to deal with trolls. Okay. I think we do the skin next. So for that, we need to go here. Skin would be this outer color because that's the actual place where the light is hitting. Let's see. Pronounced Hopi? Hopi? Oh wait, that looks bad. Why is my name like that? I don't know, bro. I swear that's actually just my name. Well, I appreciate the critique on the art. The critique on the art. Sorry, I can't talk. Because I'm only, 1 year into it. It felt, I was actually to a point now where I can actually, start doing like projects and the art doesn't look, hideous or too amateur, even though I still do struggle. But I've gotten a good grip on how to do basically all I need to in order to make it look nice enough. Been listening to comic dubs and manga dubs and stuff like that just to get ideas, because the hardest part about making these is just basically trying to continue the story. That's the hardest part. Like trying to figure out an idea for the next part of the story, which isn't the easiest thing to do. But I have an idea, or I have ideas. It's just a matter of putting it together. That's the hard part. Like actually bringing it to the, visual. Okay, now I need to go back here again. All right, I need her horn color. That's not the right color. There we go. But yeah, I am no professional. I'm just basically doing this as a starting point and to really help me drive home my art skills, because I do feel like my art is good enough now to where I can start doing stuff. It is a ton of work. Okay, clothing, like either the clothing or the eyes. Probably the eyes. Ew. Oh shit, that's bad. That's actually bad. We'll just take a wild guess. She has violet eyes, so they're pretty dark. They just have to be darker than the hair because they can't contrast with the hair. Okay, they can't be that dark. They have to be Just a little bit lighter than that. Is that okay? Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Alright, now I need to color the actual clothing. But yeah, this page, oh my god. This page yesterday, oh my god, it was hard. So much details. I can't tell. Is that the same color still? Yeah, I literally cannot tell a difference. So it's just a white blouse. Alright, so then I need to get her little floofy things around her neck. These things. Right now we're basically just getting the base colors. Interesting. Yeah, I have a cool idea for a story, but I only have like the plot and don't know where it would go from there. Well, here's a huge tip. Get your story together before you even start, otherwise it's gonna be a mess. Trust me, I've been there, I've done it. Yeah, it's not a good day. Because that just leads to plot holes, that leads to just a bunch of nonsense. Yeah, it's not a good day. Okay, so let's see. Do I do that or do I go? What's the story? I can't tell that because this is for the future. Okay, but the bathroom background. Okay, this is where things get kind of trickier. So that would be background colors technically. So we're just going to put those underneath. So let's turn this back on because there is some background here. So the ground was this color. Hopefully that doesn't blend too much into Layla's coloring. Shouldn't, but it might. And the wall color was just a white, wasn't it? It's very hard to tell. I think I'm gonna go with this color. Yeah, this wall. Okay, I do not know why it's doing that, but whatever. It'll work itself out. That can just stay white, that's fine. Okay. So nothing else is really blank. You can always go back over that with a thing, so it's no big deal if it even gets overpowered. He must make his story interesting. So he has the power to know where the screen is, like where to look if he'd be looking at the audience. So it's like a Deadpool kind of character. Okay. Now, do I go over, or do I move on to the next one? Why am I having a brain fart all of a sudden? Nah, let's just do the lighting. No, let's do the base coloring first. Sorry, guys, I am not apparently awake enough. Alright. On panel 3. Alright, this is pretty straightforward. But for that, I need Rose's base color, which is this color. Let's work on her hair first. Let's see. I need to figure out which one it is. Okay, that. Why are those not combined? Okay, so there's the base sketch. So, boom. Whoops. Besides, when this is on screen, it's really going to just be zoomed into the panels, so it's not really a huge deal if, like, some of the panel gets overpowered by the colors. Just coloring some of those little white specks. I can't really do much about the white specks. That's just kind of something that happens. Excuse me. If you told me 1 year ago that I could draw something like this, I would have laughed in your face and told you, heh heh heh, nah, never happening. Here I am. Blows my mind still that I can actually do this. Wait, is that her neck? No, that's not her neck. I remember this one being kind of a butt, because side angle is not my strong suit at all. Okay, now her skin color. Hers is the same as Star, yep. So I didn't even have to do that. Yep. Oh. Forgot about these. Wait, how did that... Okay, I don't know what happened there. Sorry, my freaking voice cracked like crazy there. Okay, let's see. That's all of her horn. Yep, that's her horn. Okay, so we just go a light, like a darker shade for the inside of the ear. Okay, the horn, I believe, is just a dark color. Oh my god. Same thing with the tongue. It just needs to be a little bit of a darker tone. Like, you think that black and white would be easy? It's harder, guys. It is 10 times harder. What the flip is this? That's a good question. I think that's hair coming in from the other side of the mouth. Yep. Okay. Black and white is much, much, much more tricky than your standard, like, color. Because colors, with multiple colors, you have way more options for, like, shading and coloring and all that stuff. Black and white adds a whole different layer of challenge. It is much, much more tedious. But that's why I did it for Inktober. Okay, what am I doing? Oh, her horn. I believe it's close to the same as Star's. A little lighter, though, because her hair is already dark. So let's just grab that color. Turn that off. Yeah, her color is very, very, very close to Star's. These are all OCs of mine that I've made for my art journey, so all you need to know about them is that they are not very nice people. They're succubus. They're succubus, so. But they're young, so they're basically bullies. That's basically what they are. They're bully characters. But they do get bigger roles in the future. Really, you mother... Okay. Horn is kind of hard to see, but it's there. It's there. Alright. Okay, Rose looks pretty damn good. Alright. Now let's move to... That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will probably be the hardest one with lighting. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's our background. That's the... Not the character? Oh, I know what that is, I think. What is this? Oh, is this water droplets? Oh, it's nothing. How did that happen? Okay, that's our background. That's the character. That's her teardrops. Or, not teardrops, but her things. Like her smears. Alright, so let's just underneath. Let's see. Brina. Alright, so let's get Brina's hair. It's basically kind of the same color as Rose, very, very close. Holy fuck. I'm missing a lot. Hold on, guys. Hopi. Oh, he tries to escape into her life. And the first scene is similar for the story starts. I mean, it's great. It's just like basically the story has begun or something. Then it cuts and we see him like walking down the street or something and going to school. So he senses the story is continued and he thinks something like, oh, you're back. Weirdly enough, that's kind of how this story starts too. Rena talks to the audience, in a way. So the rest of the story is him just trying to make his life interesting. Maybe he ends up telling someone about how he's main character and thinks he's crazy. And I'd kind of be like Saki kind of story, but with a bit more of a narrative, or I don't know, from things to listen to me. And the kid in real life, in the comic, made a friend in the comic. Yeah, that's kind of weird, like how this story starts too. Okay, where are the water droplets? The water droplets. Oh, were they part of the main thing? I don't think they were. Well, we're about to find out. Nope, they weren't. They were something on the side. It's really going to be the lighting process. That's going to be the big one. That's going to be the most tedious one. Oh. Yep. See these little strands right here that they just kind of don't fill in with the bucket tool? Yeah, they got to kind of be reworked over. Okay, that would be the slight darker color. It's not dark. Okay, that's... Is that her arm? Or is that hair? Good question. That's a really good question, actually. Or is that nothing? Maybe it's nothing. Oh, wait, no. I do think that is her arm. I think that's her arm on the other side holding it up. Holding her up is what I should say. That would have darkness behind it because that's more hair. Okay, not too bad. Alright, her skin, I believe, is just white because she's not really any specific kind of creature. Oh, what's this? I believe this was part of the hair. Yeah, it was. Okay. Alright, let's see. We need a lighter gray for the tongue. Alright. Now I just basically need the same skirt color as what Layla has. Seriously? What is that? God, I want to get a anti-touch screen so bad. Oh. I'm on the wrong layer. What is that? Hang on, I gotta move this into place. Just a little bit more. What layer is that on? Okay, it must be on a different layer. Okay, that's gotta be panel 5 then. Yep, it's panel 5. There it is. Sorry guys, it bugs me. I hate when there's those little specks on your screen. Drives me nuts. Darker for the belt. Or whatever this is supposed to be, the waistband. Okay, now the clothing. Guess we're gonna go with Layla's color. Because she does wear the same uniform. Let's see. Darker color for the collar. Okay, then the inside of the clothes needs to be a darker gray. Okay, that don't look too bad for now. Okay, the toilet would be just like regular. Okay, but we do need to color in the floor because she is on a floor. Oh, see an issue. That's not that hard of a fix. I just need to go something like this, so that's behind that. Oh, need to turn off the fade in. Because it needs to go something like this across. Whoa. And it just needs to be there. Doesn't need to be perfect. Okay, that needs to go underneath. Alright. Now I need to get this, and I need to erase the excess from on top of the hair. Oh god damn it, I still missed some. That's alright. Very easy to miss these little details. Very, very easily. What is that? That's a good question. Is that her arm? I think that's her arm. I think that's part of her arm. It doesn't look like it like formulates correctly, but given how I draw characters and the process of it, usually it's pretty accurate. Okay. Looks pretty decent. Okay. Let's work on our lighting now, which is going to be an interesting process. So we need to go to panel 2. Okay, first thing is Layla's colors. We need to go, yeah, let's do a skin like color. Okay, I need to figure out how the lighting is actually working here. The lighting is coming from the right. So, no, these are the trickiest ones. But they're not impossible. Okay, I need to thicken my brush a little bit. Because for some reason, Ibis just does not like to behave. Okay, that needs to be on top of this. candles molten up. So let me think of how the light's hitting here. The light would be coming over like this. So the majority of the outside of her arm would be lit, but not entirely. This is just a process of just experimentation, guys. It's experimentation completely. So this is going to take probably quite a while. Like the ones that I had to do last night, that didn't take that long at all. Okay, so I got to remember the light is on the outside. Ears, let's see. Light comes over, hits. I think the majority of it is actually lit. Yeah, I believe it is. This side would be kind of, I think, bathed in darkness. I don't know. We're just going to have to experiment. Okay, the horns. We'll do that on another layer. Okay, the hair would have to be on another layer as well. Okay, let me just try this. Follow that line. I'm still trying to figure this whole process out. And some angles are harder than other ones. I think this is a case of where we just do something like that. Something like this. Whoops. You'll see what I'm doing here in just a second. Okay. These are high enough to where the light would hit kind of halfway. So that'd be something like that. Like, you'll see exactly what I'm doing here in just a second. I know it looks like I'm not doing much, but trust me, that's normal. Let me do something like that. That's probably going to need a little bit more shadow. Okay. I know for a fact. Okay, let's not focus on the clothes for now. Oh, fuck. Okay, let me see something. Push that down to about 26%. This is just going to take a little bit of experimentation. But once you figure it out, you figure it out. It's not necessarily easy. Especially when the light is coming from a certain angle. It's really difficult. Okay, then I see how this works. So that don't connect like that. It connects underneath the arm like this. Okay, but in that case, how does that connect? Like that? Maybe. I don't know. Like I said, guys, not a professional in any way. Still learning myself. Okay, these lines have got to be curved correctly. This whole step is really just trial and error and figuring things out. Slowly but surely. I want to say it'd be something like that. Like maybe a little shadow in some areas. Like on top. Or maybe towards the bottom. No, I don't think. I think it's fully bathed in light. say that I think the majority of all that is just colored in. It's really when we get to the hair, that's where it really kicks in. Okay, so the whoa, 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 whoa. So light hits a lot of this, probably about 3 strands worth, and then it starts to split. Yeah, lighting is going to be tricky, but we'll figure it out slow but surely. There's one I was doing last night that was really tricky, but eventually I got it. And it would like come down like that. Okay, fill in the rest of the hair. But I'm sure you guys can see exactly what I'm doing now. Okay. It's not entirely perfect, but it's getting there. That's because this curve isn't correct. So let's see. But I assure you, I do know somewhat what I'm doing. I know somewhat what I'm doing. And then I think the light just kind of starts having itself on the strands or something like that. I don't know. We'll try it and see what happens. I can already tell it doesn't probably look right, but we'll just go all the way up and see what happens. What's weird is this process is kind of like backwards in terms of like coloring, because it looks like I'm like coloring, right? But no, I'm actually erasing. So to add like color, you're actually erasing a nut. And when you want to add more shadow, you're using your brush tool. It's like a backwards kind of effect. Okay, let's... Yeah, that don't make any sense. I think it's just half and half. With some areas of like her head being hit with light. Like I do feel like there would be more light up here on top of her head, because that's just how light works. But I don't feel this whole curve is correct. Or I'm just overthinking it, which I probably am. I probably am. Alright, go back to here for just a second. Because these undersides do need to have shadow. No more. More than that. Like I said, guys, it's a very, very tedious process. Just trying to figure things out and put things in the right spots. I would hit there for sure. Okay, not that curvy. This don't look too bad. It just looks off. Like, it doesn't look like, this is correct. Then again, light does work in mysterious ways. Like I said, I am not a professional, so there will definitely be not perfect like stuff to it. That looks fine actually. Now that I look at it, it looks fine. But this light would probably go all the way down her arm. Because the light source is hitting from this side, so the hair doesn't look too bad, but there is still spots where the light is needed to hit, like right here, because this is exposed. Just gotta curve it correctly. There's not a ton of light is hitting it. That don't look too bad. I just feel like there would be some light here as well underneath her arm. So it like curves up like that. And it also goes down her forearm. That don't look actually that bad. That actually doesn't look too shabby. For Layla, anyway. Now we just gotta add the shadows and stuff. Wait a minute, which one has the clothing on it? Oh, okay, it is shaded. It is shaded. Okay, we need to go here. And now we just need to add some shadows. It's a little bit of a dark color. Now this is just all about just spotting. Spotting, looking around where there would be a shadow cast. Hold on. It's just kind of laying against her butt, isn't it? Like it's just kind of coming down and like laying against her bum. Yeah, I think so. So there would be a shadow, but not a huge shadow. Just very light shadow. I said light shadow. Yeah, it'll work. Alright. So the shadow would be facing this way, so we need to get this color. Darken. Now, probably my least favorite part about drawing females is this part. Mainly, this part is always the trickiest because, well, the hair's long and getting these shadows to look right is a major pain in the butt. It's just a lot of area to cover. Nope. Which I'm not too worried about if I don't get it correct, because I can always just erase the excess that doesn't look right and just kind of adjust it. But it's still annoying. It's still annoying. And sometimes my brain does not like to play nice. Oh my god, can I please stop making the same line over and over again? Thank you. Probably collapses about right there in that area. Yep. Okay, now I've just got to fill this in very slowly, very carefully. God, I can only imagine this with a pencil. This would be a nightmare. I just even it out a little bit in some areas where I think it doesn't match up. Like right there, goes out way too far. There's not really much I can do if the pen like stroke is a little thick. And I think when I start adding some other stuff, it'll really start to kind of, you know, not be as like, what's the word? Like bothersome to my brain. Because my brain is one that just loves to just say, yeah, everything looks wrong. You need to do this. You need to do that. That's my brain in a nutshell. Excuse me. Oh. Okay, so it collapse right about there. How big's my brush? Oh, it's a 2.5. That's why it's so big. Okay, now we got that down to a 2.0. Maybe that'll make things a little bit more workable. Yeah, this is the part that I hate just shading females the most. Because they have long hair. Well, kind of. Not all females, not all women, but the majority that I draw all have long hair. Can I do this the easy way? No, of course I can't. No cheat codes, no nothing. Now that said, the story is still not even close to its completion. Well, I wouldn't say the story, but the project itself. Like episode 1 is definitely not even close to completion yet. We still need all the voice actors, we need all the we need all the voice lines still. So voice lines are still needed. We still need to make it, you know, into a video, which won't be that difficult, but it is coming along a lot more faster than I thought it would. Definitely that is a thing. Like, it's definitely not taking as long as I thought it would. But then again, we're only on, what, what page is this? 5? I think it's a page, I think this is page 5 of the, whatchamacallit, basically the coloring and shading process. This is like the final process of, like, you know, visual, like, appeal. It sure has been a ride, for sure. Does that actually work? That actually might work. Hang on. Just kind of write the line. Because I plan to add another kind of shadow to it. It's more like a high. It's not actually a highlight. It's more of a, what's the word? Uh, like just an additional like shadow that kind of gives it more volume, I guess you could say. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a different thing for my channel. No doubt about that. because I recently just got into this anime stuff. Recently just started doing like art and stuff. So it's definitely it's definitely a whole different kind of vibe. But I want to try doing different things. I've been wanting to for a while. Because it not only helps me to develop my art skills, just allows me to experiment and play with different things. Something like that. Okay. Looks a little off, but I think when I add her additional stuff, it should be fine. Yeah, because the light would hit that and the shadow would be on the opposite side. Because shadow still does project. As much as I'd like to have something on in the background, YouTube hates copyright, so sorry guys. That's why I stream, because then I feel like someone's like here to actually like keep me company, because this is a lot of work. I just pray to, I'm not even gonna say it. Just hope something doesn't just happen out of the blue like it usually does. Okay. God, I still gotta do star 2. Pros won't be too bad. That's an up close one, so it's not too bad. This one is definitely going to be some work. There is no doubt about that. Okay. Okay, how does this work? Comes down, it collapses about right there. That's the one thing you gotta remember about shadows too, is that they're pretty chaotic. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to also, whoops, not that color. I want to add a shadow for the underside of this. You bitch, stop. Okay. Let's see. Shadow would be on this side. Nope, get that color. Or no, actually I don't do that with this brush. I do it with this brush. No, it seems to give it a better, like, visual. Okay, now let's add those kinds of colors to this hair. Okay, now I gotta think of how this works. If the light's coming from this side, then it would be on the opposite. So it'd be like that right here. This is the step that I was talking about that gives it a little bit more volume. Just kind of makes the hair look a little bit more, I don't know, alive, I guess you could say. Personally, in my opinion, it does. My God, Layla, why did I give you such long hair? Why did I give you such long hair? Ugh. Not to mention trying to work with the airbrush tool and connect it without it looking like a blob is really difficult. Like that. Gotta really time it correctly. Doesn't look terrible, but it just looks off. Oh, no wonder. I've got the shade. Fuck me. I've got the shadows on the wrong area. That's why. It needs to be on the opposite side. That's why it looks off. Okay, you wouldn't see it on that side. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there. As long as it just gets the point across, that's all I care about. Like, if it just looks like a girl standing there, she looks fine. Okay, I think Layla might just be done. I think she's finished. Alright, Star's next. Alright, we're definitely going to have to do something for her hair because her hair's dark. Okay. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is always a tricky angle. Okay, hang on. The light's coming from this area. Wouldn't the face be lit? Yeah, the face would be lit. It wouldn't be like dramatic effect. So, well, that's interesting. I guess the only thing I could do is just try. See what kind of effect it gives, and it gives it a cool effect. I'll just go with it, because why not? This is one of the trickier ones to do. I don't know why, but side angle always gives me shit. Be something like this kind of thing. But it would go over the teeth as well and the tongue. Trickiest part is just getting that curvature. Getting the curvature of the body to match. Nope. For some reason. Okay. Comes down like that and out like that. Sure. Why not? But this does need to have some light at the front. What in the flip? Oh, oops. We're just doing what we did before. Same exact idea, same exact ordeal. It's just a matter of getting it correct. Hopefully I put that on the right track, otherwise this is going to be a little bit more tedious. All right, let's see. That's the right idea, for sure. It's just not perfect. Oh, I think it needs to be darker. Probably, yep. Yep, just switch that to a black. Then bring that down. Much better. Okay. So this line is definitely not right. We need to. Fix that up a little bit. What in the heck? Oh, I know what's going on. I know what's going on. Because of the opacity. Okay. Light hits her face. So far, so good. So far, it looks alright. So gotta add the one to the hair and all that stuff. Alright. Let's add the one to the hair. Same color. Whoa. I don't know why it overdrives. It's so weird. Sorry guys, I can't spoil shit. This is for a later date, so I'm not gonna spoil anything. Just as it says, I'm just working on it. No spoilers. No special privileges, unless you are actually on the project. Whoops. Okay, I did get the ear right. I believe I did. God, why is that song stuck in my head? Because it's a catchy song, that's why. Okay, now that I've smoothed out those edges, they look okay. Alright, let's turn that down. Alright, now just match everything up. This angle's not that bad. This angle's actually pretty simple. Very straightforward. So, Something along those lines. Okay. Alright. Then on every strand, there's just a little speck of light. Just like this. Whoops. Backwards. It's backwards. Alright. This one should be pretty simplified. Like, this one should be really easy. Oh, I realized I just forgot to fill in this part down here. But it actually looks pretty lit. Like, it doesn't look like it's wrong by any means. It's one thing I've learned about this kind of style is you really don't need to go the full 9 yards. You don't have to go like, you know, everything needs to be perfect. As long as it just sells it enough, it should be fine. Like, I know the one with Layla is definitely not perfect, but does it sell It's a Girl in the Bathroom? Yes. That's all it really needs to do. The fuck? Oh, I know what's going on. Oops. Okay, let's try that again. That's okay. It just needs a little bit more black right here. It's just this curve doesn't match up. Okay, that's not too bad. It's something, I guess. God damn it. It's gotta be careful to just get this even. And for some reason, my brain does not want to do that. Yeah, for some reason I can't get these even today. Any other day would be fine, but nope, not today. Okay, just to plant that. The philosophy in your head, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to look decent. Okay, so this is one of the ones that just kind of seeps out from the top. Maybe one more strand. Very, very mild. It's really hard to judge how light would project onto something without seeing it fully. Wrong side, wrong side. Okay, can't see anything there. Okay, let's see. These little strands. Same thing here. And same thing here. This would have a little bit of a light strand on it. Okay, the horn, which I forgot to fill in. Nope. Of course, it's not going to make it easy on me. Never does. Because the ibis brushes and all that stuff are kind of wonky when they want to be. Okay, there is something there. It's just very, very hard to see. We still need to add some shadows anyways. Okay. So we need to get this brush, but we need to go to a new layer. Okay. From this angle, it's very, very straightforward. Let's go 3.0. Oh, shit. Alright, let's see if that... Way too much. Way too much. That works enough. Works well enough. Okay, so... This is going to be a little bit more easier than Layla was. This is just the one aspect of girl hair that I absolutely hate. I just hate having to put the shadows in because it is such a long process. But hey, gotta put some effort into stuff if you want to look nice, right? Something like that, yep. Alright. Okay. Good. No. Nope. Get rid of excess. This is the way that I prefer to shade hair. It is so much easier this way. Just one simple little strand, or one simple stroke. And there you go. Did I put that in the wrong fucking spot? I think I did. No, I didn't. There. Yeah, it's only on the point. Okay, that goes back. Yep, okay. Very detailed hair. Why do I make hair so detailed? I don't know. Because it looks good, that's why. Like, I've seen so many animes, like, do very, like, simplified hair, and I get why they do it. Like, it saves a ton of, like, work, animation budget, stuff like that. Even in, like, mangas and stuff, I've seen, like, simplified hairstyles. Personally, that's not me. I like my characters to look nice. Okay, underneath. It'd be very, very subtle. Very subtle. Considering we can actually see a face this time. Now we just need this kind of color. Okay. I need that color again because I forgot the under chin shadow. Okay, I think I see. Okay, let me go back here real quick. Is it that one? Yep. But that's not right. Okay, hang on. Actually, go back to where I was because there would be a shadow here. Very mild one, but it would be a shadow. Okay, the inside of the ear. Very, very subtle. Oh. Okay. It's something. I don't think we need the volume, like, strand thing going on. I don't think we need that. I think that's good enough. Just trying to think there's anywhere else that I'm specifically missing. That I can see. Nope, I think that one's done. Now the easy one. I'll be back, guys. Alright, it's basically the same exact concept as Stars was. Okay, panel 3. Yep. On top, yep. Okay, now we just need a black. Again, this will look weird, but trust me, it's not. Let me try and get that a little bit more better. This is what we call a two-tone effect. It's just an experimental process. This one should actually be one of the easier ones. This should be way more easier. Okay. I think there needs to be a little bit more light on the face, but... Whoop. No. Yeah, I do think there needs to be just a little bit more light on the face. It's like right here somewhere. That actually doesn't look too bad. Now that I look at it, it actually doesn't look that bad. Let me see if I were to give this area some light. Because this strand is on this opposite side of her face. It's not actually on this side of her face. Turn that. Okay, not looking too bad. It sells the point. Alright, same thing with the hair. So we need to do a hair two-tone. And get rid of these specks that go over the line for some stupid reason. I don't know why it does that. Because IBIS can be really buggy when it wants to be. They're not that hard to deal with, though. We turn on the opacity anyways, so that's not like they're heavily visible. I'll tell you what, this is way better than having to color it in by hand. That's just a maniac's desire. Alright, let's see. Yeah, it's pretty much the same exact gist with Star, but a little bit different. Let's turn this down. Probably around 30-ish. Yeah, see, you can't really see the over the line stuff, since we're going to be erasing a lot of this. Alright, so basically, same exact thing. Light hits very, very mildly. Because this is more for dramatic effect than actual, actual lighting. Okay, follow the line of that. Same thing over here. This is really what brings the shading and all that stuff to life. Because it gives the character a little bit more realism to them. Another hint of light. Trying to get a little more accurate. Definitely not going to be perfect, but as long as it looks somewhat, it's fine. Something like that. A little bit bigger than that. Okay, where's the top? Right over there. Nope, try that again. Okay. Same exact idea. Okay, I need a smaller eraser. Oh, for fuck's sake. Same thing. Did I get the horn? I don't know if I got the horn. I did not. Okay. I don't know why he does that. Very, very hard to see. Okay. In that case, let's go a bit of a lighter color. Then in that case, I would have to do the opposite effect. Instead of putting the light in, I just put in the shadow. Okay. It's not bad. But why are we... What the hell is going on here? Oh, I bet you never cease to amaze how weird you can be. Okay. Alright, now we just gotta add her shadows to her face. Simple enough. Bro, I'm not gonna tell you that shit. Okay. Really? Oh my god. Can I get an eraser, please? Thank you. What in the flippin' hell? Okay, I'm not sure what happened here, but I don't like it. Hold on. That's what happened. I got overridden. Okay. I don't know why I did that, but it did. For some reason. Okay, I feel that's good enough. Okay. Just double check everything, take a look. Why did it do this weird thing with the things? I don't know. It don't look bad though. Yeah, I think that looks fine. Alright. Moving on. Oh, this one's gonna be fun. What is this? This is part of the... Yes, it's part of the main thing. So this would all be background stuff. No, it wouldn't. Apparently it is not. Wait, what the fuck? Do I have to do it this way? Okay. Well, this is gonna be annoying. Oh, wait. Nope, I'm stupid. I can just do this thing. Okay, here comes the fun part. So, how do I go about this? Face dark, back light is what I'm seeing. So, let's see. Hair covers the back, so there would be shading there. So yeah, this is mostly cloaked. So the place that would be the most like lit would probably be like right here on her arm, down towards her butt, maybe a little on her arms and stuff, but not really. God, that's annoying. I can only blame myself. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, what's overriding you? Thing. Okay, I don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, am I... Sorry, guys, I'm trying. Okay, I believe this was the one. Yes. So, okay, this is an interesting one. Because the majority of the face is all cloaked in darkness. So this will be interesting to work with. Tongue and everything. Just need to get the areas where it would be dark. Maybe on the chest. Let's see, let me think here. There is a little light coming from her side, like towards the bottom. So there would probably be a little bit of light where the chest is, but we can work around that. So I'm just going to fill in the areas where there would be the least amount of light, and then go with that. This would have a little bit of light on it as well. Again, we can work around that. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, here's where I can experiment a little bit. Now, while her back is covered by her hair a little bit here, that'd be more like a shadow going up. The areas where the light would hit would be like right here. Like somewhere like right there on her arm would be like a hit area. Just kind of connect that. So I gotta figure out where would the light hit. Probably down by her butt, honestly. Like right here somewhere. Ooh, actually, wouldn't it go like something like this? Like down her side a little bit? Maybe. And then the light would hit at the back of these, creating like a effect. Because all that is cloaked by her hair. So I guess I'm just going to do something like this. What the flip? Okay, I don't know how I did that, but... do something like this. Then when we start adding like all of the colors and stuff, it'll really start to work. Okay. So first things first, that needs to be more like this. Like I said, this process is all about just experimentation. Figuring out what works, what doesn't work. The angles and all that stuff. Okay, that's working perfectly. That's exactly how I wanted that to work. But there would be some light on her hand right here. And arm. That's an arm, dork. Like just a little bit. I don't know why it's doing this, but... yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Because it's underneath it, so it shouldn't be doing that. I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's one to be a freaking bitch. Here, there, that just didn't get drawn correctly, but it's okay. It'll work out regardless. Okay. Now let's add one for the hair. This is where it'll really start to come to life. Once I start adding all the colors to this and stuff. God. What is up with these clumps? Stop. Anytime I say clumps, it just reminds me of Avatar The Last Airbender. Clumps! They're clumps! Sorry. Great episode, by the way. Great show. One of my faves that I got into way too late as a kid. I'm kind of glad I got into it as an adult because, well, I wouldn't have understood it all the way if I had gotten into Avatar: The Last Airbender when I was, just a kid. I wouldn't have understood the extent of, what the show was trying to, tell. And how truly, truly dark it really was. How screwed up it really was. Because it was screwed up. It was very screwed up. Zuko's whole, arc and everything, yeah. Holy osmosis. I can't believe Nicktoons got away with that. Or Nickelodeon, I should say. I cannot believe they got away with it. I don't know how they did. Because there is some dark matter in that show. Murder, child abuse, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. A cartoon that was just a great cartoon. I don't call it an anime because it doesn't derive from Japan. Okay, this would all be lit fully. Sure, it's based off of Japan culture or not Japan, China culture and stuff, but yeah, it's not made in Japan and all that stuff. So it's not really an anime. It's more of a cartoon. Okay, let's just kind of go for a shape like that for now. And fix it as we go along, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite shows that I could easily go back and watch over and over and over again without even getting bored. Even though there are some episodes that I consider the lesser better ones, like the one that everybody finds kind of bad, which is The Great Divide. I agree. Aang's completely out of character. Aang is completely out of character in that one. It's like they ran out of ideas before they got to Ba Sing Se. Whoops. Sorry, guys. So they decided to just take the Grand Canyon and avatar it. But yeah, Aang is completely out of character in the entire episode, especially at the end. What in the fuck were they thinking? Isn't Aang supposed to be someone who doesn't lie to just, fix a dispute? I get it. I understand why they would do that. But it's not Aang. Aang is not a liar. He's not, okay, he can lie, but he's not someone who would dispute what was it, over 1,000, over, it wasn't even 1,000 years. It was more easily over 1,000-year-old dispute or rivalry is what I would call it. It was like Hatfield to McCoy's meets the Grand Canyon, basically. And yeah, I just don't agree with how they handled Aang in that episode, but I get it. You run out of ideas, so there's going to be bad episodes. One that I like a lot that a lot of people don't like, and I get why some people wouldn't like it, is The Cave of the Two Lovers. I really like that one because it helps to develop Katara and Aang's relationship. It makes their like relationship actually seem, like a relationship. With Aang, offending Katara, calling her, like, I don't want to kiss you because I have a crush on you or whatever. Like, that's a huge, like, misstep, buddy, but it happens. Men do stupid stuff when they get nervous, especially if you have the cold feet. So yeah, I like that episode. I get why some people don't like it because the hipsters are kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, they are annoying, especially the one with the goddamn hat. Like, if they were going for annoying voice, they did a great job. They did a great job casting probably the most annoying voice imaginable because it sounds like he's got like a freaking sinus infection or something. Not to mention they made him like the most dumb idiot imaginable. Hello, Chappa, by the way. I'm just talking about one of my favorite cartoons of all time, of our Last Airbender. But yeah, that's one of my favorites. I personally like that episode. One of the darker episodes that I personally find one of the best, in my opinion, especially the final season. Oh, what was it called? What's the name of the damn fleet? Uh, the Southern Raiders. The one where Katara confronts her mother's killer. Holy crap, is that one dark? A lot of Katara ones were actually dark. The Puppet Master, that one was creepy as shit. Like, just the concept of bloodbending alone, that is straight up out of a horror movie. And I like that they actually continued that into The Legend of Korra. Like, okay, was The Legend of Korra bad? Yeah, for like the first two seasons, it was terrible. But that's because it was trying to fill heavy, heavy shoes. If you look at The Legend of Korra not as an Avatar spinoff, then it becomes a lot more better. But as soon as they get to season 3, then things change. It gets much better. Like, it's a lot to get through, yes, but it is a damn good show once it hits season 3. That's where I think that's where they realized they needed to go back to their roots. They needed to actually go back to where it all began and why it was successful in the first place. Why Avatar The Last Airbender was successful. Bringing back Toph was one of the best because Toph was one of my favorite characters. Like, a blind earthbender. And a blind earthbender who uses her feet as her guide. That is just a crazy thought in my opinion. Like, one of the coolest concepts, one of the best characters in the show, in my opinion. Yeah, I loved Toph. She was such a good character. She was a little shit, but yeah, she was a good little shit. Like, there's some episodes where I could I could easily go without them. Like, what's another one that I can think of, like, right off the tip of my head? That is just one episode that I could just easily go without watching. There's a lot of season 1 ones like that. Like, even though it does develop Katara's character and Sokka's character a lot, the ones with Jet I could go without. The one where they're embossing, say, oh god, what was it called? Lake Laogai. That's a damn good episode, but again, I don't think they need to bring Jet back. Jet was just kind of a bleh character to me. He wasn't that good. He was literally eye candy for Katara. He was designed to piss Aang off. That's all he was there for. Like, stay away from my girl, bruh. That is literally all he existed for in the first episode he ever appeared in, which was Jet. Personally, I don't think they needed to bring him back because he dies anyway. Spoiler alert. It's not really a spoiler alert if the show is over 20 years old. My God, I'm old. But yeah, I don't think Jet needed to be brought back. I don't. I feel like he could have been easily left out and forgotten. Because he just dies in the end anyways. So, woo, who cares? The whole concept of the Freedom Fighters was good, but yeah, Jet just kind of turned out to be an asshole. It was basically a episode of don't don't judge a book by its cover. Or no, it's not actually don't judge a book by its cover. It's don't like don't like just assume someone's a good person. Like don't just you got to get the full story. And Jet was one of those characters. Don't be too quick to jump the gun is what I would put it as. Like don't be too quick to judge or don't be too quick to like make assumptions. Like the majority of the show is all great, but there are some episodes where I'm just like, eh. Like I really am like, I gotta watch this again. Some of the desert episodes even were kind of boring to me. I get why they were there. I do, but it really felt like they dragged way too long, in my opinion. In my personal opinion, I really feel like they dragged way too long. You know, was I sad that Appa was missing? Oh yeah, I was. I was praying to God they'd find Appa, but yeah, it just kind of dragged a little too long, in my opinion. And then it led into the Serpent's Pass, basically where Aang learns not to be a dick and like actually like trust the people around him, even though he makes that mistake again at the beginning of season 3 in the headband, or not the headband. That's afterwards. That's another episode that I can easily go without watching. I get why it exists, but is it really necessary? It isn't. I get why they do it. There's a lot of season 3 episodes where I'm like, it's it can stay or leave. I really don't care. Like it's been forever since I've seen the show, but yeah, the one that I can think of, I love Sokka's master. That's a great one. I loved what that they gave Sokka reason rather than just being the doofus. And then in the Day of Black Sun, he really turns into a good character. Um, People will say the Painted Lady was a bad one. I personally don't think so. I think it was a really good one because it really developed Qatar's character as a waterbender and kind of showed that not all of the Fire Nation people are dicks. Like there's actual like oppression on like the Fire Nation citizens as well. They're not all bad people. That's kind of like what the headband established as well. But yeah, I just feel there's a lot of like episodes that are okay, while others are just meh. Like once Zuko shows up, it is great. Especially in season 3. Like, oh my god, his introduction is so fucking awkward, but it's so well done because, well, he's been chasing Aang since the beginning of the show. So, of course, he's gonna be a little, uh, hi, Zuko here, he's gonna be like, what do I say? What do I say to these people that I've been just endlessly hunting for the past 3 seasons? How do I get them to trust me? Well, the easy answer is you can't. You have to prove yourself. You have to show, that you have to show them something to make them willing to trust you. And he does that. He does exactly that. And yeah, I loved Zuko as a character. His redemption arc is so fucking well done. One of the best written characters imaginable. One of the best, like, characters in any cartoon to receive a redemption arc. He starts out as the bad guy, but he's actually misunderstood, and you learn that in The Storm. Because you learn that, he has a reason to be hunting the Avatar, but in a sense, it's a bad thing because all he wants is his dad's love, which is really fucked up in a way. But again, this show does not sugarcoat shit, and that's why I love it. It's not afraid to be dark. It's not afraid to be edgy. It's not afraid to state real life issues that are an actual problem. And I can't. There's a few things with the ending that I find a little, like, I feel like they could have done it a lot more better. Like, I don't agree that Aang's, like, way of resolving the fire, not killing the Fire Lord, was bad or felt rushed. I don't think it felt rushed. He's the Avatar. He can literally do almost anything. So to suddenly gain the ability to energy bend from a lion turtle, I don't think that's too far from, like, being impossible. Does it feel a little far-fetched? Yes, it does. But I think it's a good way so that, Aang doesn't have to kill the Fire Lord and go against his, like, his morals and values as a monk. And Sozin's comment is all 4 parts still the best. Would I call it the best finale to a show? Yes, I would. Easily the best end to a entire show I've ever seen. Like, it is so action packed. It closes almost every door you can imagine. Like, I truly feel kind of robbed that we didn't get to see Zuko find his mom, but apparently it's in the comics. And apparently it has to do with, like, finding Azula as well, and, like, learning things from her because Ozai wouldn't talk or something like that. And am I shocked that Ozai didn't talk? Absolutely not. But I was so shocked to find out that Ozai was voiced by Mark Hamill way too late. I'm like, wait, what? But then I like listened back to, like, the scenes of fight where he's fighting, Aang and all that stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I can definitely hear the Joker in there. I can definitely hear his when he gets hit in the stomach or something. And the fact that Mark Hamill was the one who voiced Ozai is just amazing to me. Again, great choice, because the Joker is one fucked up motherfucker that just, yeah. He's a great villain. Ozai is just a terrible father and a horrible person. Like, if they were gonna make him anything like close to a villain, they did it good. They did perfectly. And yeah, that's the reason why I love Avatar: The Last Airbender, because it's one of those shows that is not afraid to go against, like, what counts as safe for kids. It talks about real world shit, child abuse, like bad parenting, heavy responsibility, like things like that. Zuko's entire arc is really just a story of child abuse. Child abuse, manipulation, terrible parenting. Like, absolutely terrible parenting. Like, Ozai was terrible. But that's exactly what he's designed to be. He's designed to be an asshole. And Azula, oh, don't even get me started on her. Like, she is an amazing villain, one of the best cartoon villains imaginable, because she legitimately feels like a character who can't be beat. She's flawless. She has every she has every move figured out, and I love that about her. You need a villain like that. You need someone who, the heroes can't counter. Like, no matter what they do, they just cannot win against this bitch. And her whole part in Sozin's comment of going through like a mental trip of basically every fear that she has. Yeah, I found it was needed, because we needed to know what Azula's weakness was. We needed to know what would stop this bitch. What would stop her? Like, what was the thing that would basically stop her from being flawless? And it turns out it was trust. Trust, lack of love. Like when basically when God, what's their names? Zuko's moody girlfriend, May and Ty Lee, I think is her name. May and Ty Lee basically saying "fuck you, Azula" was one of the best parts of that entire episode where they go to the prison, which was based off of Alcatraz. It was one of the best, and I was not expecting it, I can tell you that. The fact that they just turn on Azula and basically say, you know what, we've had enough of your bullshit. We can read right through you. And the only reason they can read right through her is because, well, they've seen, she's nothing but a manipulative liar and, a terrible friend. Like, she's no better than Ozai. Makes sense, they're two of a kind. It is one of, like, even though there are episodes that could be better, I still think Avatar The Last Airbender, one of the best shows to ever air. And I'm so, like I said before, I'm glad I got into it as an adult, because I don't think as a kid I would have gotten exactly how dark and impactful this show was. And how, you know, cartoons used to be edgy. Cartoons used to be able to get away with a lot of shit. But now that we're in, an era where, oh, that's the simplest shit that can make anybody, offended, fuck you and your feelings. I'm glad. I'm glad that it got to show before we hit an era where everyone gets so easily offended over the dumbest fucking bullshit. Like, can you imagine Avatar airing today? It would not be the same show it was, because that show was so dark, so fucked up in so many ways, but it was done in a great way that was safe. Like, I feel like the majority of it was safe. Like, it wasn't too dark to where it would scare kids. They did a great job of masking that. But one thing I love that they dreaded, like that was one of the key points in the entire show, was war. How war affects people, and how war affects, like, just, you know, people in general. I know I just said that twice, but yeah, I really feel it did a great job at that without, going too politically based. It did a great job of expressing the horrors of war: death, violence, loss, fear, things like that. And they did so good at it. Like, they caught that emotion perfectly. Or not emotion. They caught that impact absolutely perfectly. And that's something you don't see shows like cartoons do. You don't see cartoons do that. Like, anymore, it's just poop and piss jokes anymore and makes a kid laugh and that's a good cartoon. No, it's not. You want to know the cartoons I grew up on? I grew up on Ed, Edd and Eddy. I grew up on Courage the Cowardly Dog. Shows that were not afraid to push the boundaries. Courage the Cowardly Dog, there was one episode that when I saw it for the first time, it scared the piss out of me. Why did it scare the piss out of me? I don't know. It was, oh god, it wasn't Freaky Fred. Believe it or not, it was not Freaky Fred. It was, oh god, it was the one with the Harvest Moon. I can't remember what it's called, but it had to do with the Harvest Moon. And it's where the big moon thing appears in the basement. That thing scared the fuck out of me. It scared the shit out of me. And I don't know why it scared me so bad, but it did. But I love horror. I love horror. I love, ouch. I love anything to do with like scary anything. And that's mainly why I make the content that I do. I love horror. But my favorite horror is psychological horror. Like, psychological horror is my jam. I love that shit. The Shining is one of my favorite movies of all time. I would even argue it is my favorite movie of all time. But I don't know. I can't say that and have a clear conscience. There's a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies that I love. Okay. Okay, now I need to decide what I'm doing here. But yeah, I grew up with those kinds of cartoons. I didn't grow up with piss and fart jokes. No. I grew up with cartoons that were actually funny, that actually told good stories. And if they weren't telling stories, they were actually entertaining. Ed, Edd and Eddy was such a simple concept. 3 dudes that basically are scam artists. Well, one of them is. One of them is literally against the entire concept of scamming, which is Double D. And then there's Ed, who's just kind of he just kind of does his thing, and he says butter toast. Like, it's such a simple concept. It's a simple, easy concept, and it worked flawlessly. Excuse me. The Powerpuff Girls. A show literally about 3 girls who kick ass. I love that shit. That was one of my favorite cartoons. Because back when I was a kid, they had this thing on Cartoon Network called Friday Night Cartoons. And it was basically a marathon of the new episodes of cartoons that had come out. And I remember in the lineup, there was things like Codename Kids Next Door, there was Courage the Cowardly Dog, there was Ed, Edd and Eddy. I want to say Dexter's Laboratory was part of it. Probably Count Chicken was in there. Johnny Bravo. God, all those classics. I loved those cartoons. Even Johnny Bravo. This cartoon was absolutely ridiculous. It was just literally about a fucking guy who was a hopeless romantic that hit on women. Could you imagine that show airing today? Could you imagine if that show aired today, what the reception would be like? It wouldn't be a good time. Because people would be saying, oh, he's a feminist. No, Johnny Bravo wasn't a feminist. He was just a hopeless romantic. He was a hopeless romantic, kind of a dunce. And yeah, that's all he really was. And that's all the show was about, was just a guy hitting on women and being terrible at it. That's literally what Johnny Bravo was about. And it worked, which is crazy to me. Like, how did they make something that stupid work? It is beyond amazing that that worked. Oh yeah, Powerpuff Girls was part of Friday Night Cartoons too. And again, worked flawlessly. It was a great show that I still love to this day because it was literally just a show about three little girls saving the world. That's literally all it was. Three little girls that just took on the job to save their town from monsters. And there's even an episode of the Powerpuff Girls where the show kind of makes fun of itself. The show makes fun of itself by making the monsters seem like, they come to the town because they enjoy being punished by the girls. That's like their lifestyle. That's their thing. And they turn into like these like alternate heroes that are terrible at their job. That's what the episode's about. They turn into like these alternate heroes that are terrible. And finally a monster comes to town and says, would you please go back to yourselves and stop being these freaking knockoff pieces of shit? Like, that's literally what the episode is about. I can't tell you how many times I remember watching that Christmas special. Even the Powerpuff Girls movie, when it came out, I don't think it's a terrible movie. I don't. I truly do not think that is a terrible movie. It's not the best movie, for sure. But is it simple? Is it easy? Yes. It's a very simple and very, easy movie to understand. It's telling about the backstory of Mojo Jojo. That's literally all it is. How Mojo Jojo ever became a thing, and how the girls became a thing. And they do it in a really good style that I think tells the story very well. It's one I could call it a guilty pleasure even. Because I do think that the movie is pretty decent. I don't think it's the best movie ever, but is it a movie? Yes. It's a movie. It's a kids movie. Kids movies are designed to basically occupy children for like an hour and a half. That's what they're designed for. And that's all they're designed for. They are distractions. And I remember one of the very first dark movies that I ever watched. Dark movies. One of the first children's movies that I watched that had a scene that was legitimately dark was Pokemon. Keep in mind, I'm not a Pokemon person. I've never really been a huge Pokemon fanatic or anything like that. But Pokemon, the first movie, I think that's what it was called. What layer is this on? Hang on, I gotta figure this out. It's on layer 46. So, oh shit. There we go. Okay, where was I? Oh, Pokemon the first movie. That movie has a scene in it where Ash, quote unquote, dies. He gets basically caught in a he gets caught in a crossfire with Mew and Mewtwo, who are fighting at the time. And in the process, he ends up basically getting turned into stone. So there's a scene where Pikachu literally runs over to him and basically cries because it thinks that its, master is dead. That is that was one of the very first scenes that I'd seen of a movie where death was in a children's content based thing. And it was nuts to me as a kid. It was nuts. Because I'd never seen a movie like that, for kids do that. And to me, even now, it's still pretty crazy to me. But yeah, that's the kind of shit that I grew up with as a kid. Okay, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I was going here. No, I was going here. Was it this? So yeah, there was a time when cartoons were great. And that's why I love Avatar: The Last Airbender, because it reminds me of those good cartoons. It was like a cartoon that literally came out of absolutely nowhere and was just a unique and special thing that was different from the norm and did a great job at being different from the norm. Okay. Let's see what this looks like with text now. Excuse me. Whoops. No. Okay, panel 4 is just yank and splash, so we're not worried about that. And then this one was just a lot of words. Okay. $29. There's a number missing from panel 2. So there's a text layer off. Right there. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Just checking everything to be absolutely sure. Nope, I see something. Panel 2, I need to go here. The underside skirt needs to be colored in. Please and thank you. A little bit of a darker tone. That way the dress looks a little like it's shaded. Is that her leg? Yeah, that's her leg. Okay. Okay, that's better. Now, I can't help but feel that she still looks a little, I don't know. Rose looks fine. Brina actually looks pretty decent. She doesn't look too bad. Get our first use of some color, like the water, the rage. Other than that, I don't really see anything else that's quote-unquote problematic. Hang on. The heck? Okay, that's the hair. Let me see if I add a little bit of a light to this side. If that might fix it. Because light is hitting from more than one area. Just careful. That don't look right. Maybe put some... Okay, that might actually be something. I think it looks fun. Yep, I think that this page is done. So, yep, I think that's it for today. So hopefully, because I don't see anything else that really needs to be worked on. I don't see any other like weird shadows, no weird like it doesn't look off, like anything that doesn't look right. So yeah, I think we're in the clear, guys. So with that, I'm calling that there. Oh, hang on. There's one more thing I need to turn back on. There we go. So yep, I'm gonna call it there. So despite having some trolls at the beginning, I think we did how long did that take? 2.5 hours. That's actually not that bad at all. Wow. I was expecting that to take at least 3.5. So yeah, the one that took the longest was by far the second panel. So yay, we didn't have to deal with 3.5 hours. So yep, that's the page for today. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining me, despite the issues that we had at the beginning. But yep, I don't know if I'm going to stream this tomorrow. I don't know. It all depends on how I feel. Because I have slightly felt a little bit of exhaustion from everything. But I'm taking it slow. I'm being easy on myself. I'm trying anyway. So I feel we're on a good track. Like I said, one page a day keeps the exhaustion away. But anyways, yep, that's all for today. And until next time, guys, I'll see y'all next time. Happy horse. Until then. Bye-bye.